Civilization is a gradual unfolding of the comprehension of the nature of God and the processes of nature working out its complexities of effects under the one law of love. Civilization progresses in the measure of that comprehension, exemplified in its great men. Its great men are those who know God in them and interpret his rhythms in accord with law. Its great men are always few. Those few constantly uplift other men by a constant raising of the standards of world culture. When there are too few men living knowingly with God, civilization becomes decadent. The world is in one of its decadent periods now because of that fact. Material-minded men have conceived greatness to lie in the expression of physical and mental power over other men, and in the material power of possessions. Mankind has not been demonstrating the principle of love for his fellow man. Men and nations have sought to enrich themselves with material possessions in utter defiance of the law of love. Men whom the world has considered great have been godless men who ruled kingdoms with iron hands and gathered together large amounts of gold and other material possessions. Others whom we have considered great were those who delved into the secrets of chemistry and electricity to produce the material for enriching empire builders of industry for self-enrichment. Greatness in man has been associated with money and material power. Many there have been of this kind whose names are forgotten in a few generations, but few there have been of such immortals as Wagner, Beethoven, Shakespeare, Socrates, Leonardo, Michelangelo. These are the men who uplift the whole human race because they work knowingly with God, while those who work for self alone pull the standard of civilization down to lower levels. When so many geniuses lived contemporarily, world culture arose to higher points to direct man's thinking into spiritual channels. Where are their equals today? We are not producing them. All of our arts are decadent. Ugliness has taken the place of beauty. In painting and sculpture, the ugliness of unwholesome thinking and practicing has flooded the land with the distorted works of men whose personal appearance and manner of living are as decadent as are their works. Beauty and dignity can come only from creators whose inspired lives are dominated by love of beauty. This generation can count all too few such men. Those who have set high standards for past salons have died. The salons which they make into temples of beauty are fast becoming tombs for art's decadence. In no department of life has decadence of morality been felt more keenly than in religion. The reason for this deplorable condition is because dogmatic and creedal religions have outgrown their usefulness in this electric age of greater comprehension. The old hellfire and brimstone of orthodoxy no longer frightens people into being good. Orthodoxy, such as it was, held people to a greater practice of religious devotion than it possibly could in these more enlightened days. The God of love is replacing the God of fear in man's concepts. 50 years ago, practically the entire population went to church, and the child who did not attend Sunday school was rare. Today, 60 million people in this country do not regularly attend any church, and a very large percentage of children do not attend Sunday school. That does not mean that people are less desirous of religion. It means that creeds and doctrines which have been inherited from pagan days are no longer applicable to this more enlightened generation. Sin has a different connotation in this electric age. People no longer can be convinced that the naturalness of birth is sinful. Because of the many beliefs of early-day religious teachings, over 100 different disunited creedal religions sprang into being. The world is on its way to finding unity. A disunited church can never unify mankind. A church which depicts the nature of God as any other than love cannot exist. The God of anger, who must be appeased by sacrifice for the remission of man's sin. appeals to the ignorant but not to the intellectual. The comprehension of man has risen far above man's willingness to accept such concepts. We have come to see the 11th hour in our civilization, where God's law of love must rule all mankind. We must have one world with one religion of love. Until the law is lived by all men, we shall continue to produce materialistic men who destroy world unity. We are at a crucial point where the whole world must produce great men who know God in them, men who manifest the love principle upon which the universe is founded, or perish. The world concepts of values in human relations must change from assent upon money and material possessions, which are transient, to assent upon spiritual values, which are eternal. The material-minded man who seeks gold can obtain more gold by working with the law of love than without it. This he does not know. New comprehension, born of the spiritual awakening, arising from New Age teachings, will gradually transform man's concept of power and greatness. The principles of human relations must be reversed from the practice of taking for material self-enrichment to the practice of giving for mutual enrichment. He who thus acquires treasures of earth will simultaneously acquire treasures of heaven. The dread serpent of fear of our neighbor, which forces us to lock doors, police streets, and arm nation against nation, will disappear only through the complete reversal of human relationship practices to conform to nature's law of love. When one obeys the law and gives of himself to his fullest extent, the law will unfailingly work to re-given to equal measure that which he has given. Nature unfailingly observes the law of both action and reaction. Rains from the heavens given to earth for its needs are re-given by the heavens, by unfolding forest and other growths which the heavens need to produce new moisture. Consider how the law of rhythmic balanced interchange would work in industry. A shoe manufacturer, for instance, considering his own interest, restricts the credit of a customer who is in financial difficulty. Practice of the love principle by the manufacturer would be demonstrated by him in sending his efficiency expert to consult with his customer and help him find a way to overcome his trouble. The expert may find him carrying too high-priced shoes for that neighborhood and advise a sale of different grade shoes made suitable for his neighborhood needs. Instead of losing a customer by assisting in crushing him, the manufacturer could have continued to keep a customer by solving his financial problems through extension of the love principle. In addition to the values of money received by the manufacturer, he has the loyal friendship of the man to whom he has extended love. This is the priceless asset, which does not go down on the books of earth, but is unfailingly written upon the records of each man's soul for eternal repetition. When man adds the priceless love asset to each of his dealings with other men, he will be adding universal power unto himself, which continues to repeat itself automatically as his heart continues to beat, or as the rains continue to re-give to earth for earth's giving. The love principle is slowly being applied in industry. Even where it is applied only in part, or as good policy, it is giving wonderful returns in the dollars, which may still be the motive back of the practice. The practice of rhythmic balanced interchange as a policy alone will unquestioningly bring back more dollars, but dollars are all it will bring. The treasures of heaven can never be acquired by one who seeks the treasures of earth only by using the cloak of heaven. Ethics alone, or goodness alone, no matter what the services of man are, for which ethics and goodness are applied, will not constitute greatness in man or in industry. Higher wages, or even profit-sharing, are often voted merely as good policy for making more money. These principles bring more money, for they are for the betterment of man, and must, under the law, bring returns in kind. But the returns are only in kind, and no more. For if love alone is not